been here 12, 13 years or whatever it is now, and I've got a reasonable grasp on most aspects of Japanese culture, but this is one aspect of Japanese culture I cannot really comprehend, wrap my head around, or appreciate.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad in Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. Don't know why I'm pointing at myself, because I am in Japan. But Pete Donaldson is not. Pete, how the devil are you doing? What is going on?
I wonder if... So I'm sort of facing
west,
sort of north that way. So if I sort of point that way, I'm pointing directly at you. Imagine if, they could figure out exactly where I was pointing. And where whether I was off or on where you actually are. That'd be quite exciting, wouldn't it? Why don't you point at me, Chris? Point at me.
They pray to Mecca, they point to where
Pray
Pete
to
Donaldson
Chrissy.
is. It's not quite as impactful or as exciting,
No,
is it?
probably not.
How you doing, Pete?
No.
Everything all right?
I'm good. It's very early in the morning, and I've got computer troubles. But don't worry, I've got some energy drink with me. I got computer troubles again. I thought that it had been fixed by a bigger boy. Turns out it's just in some kind of interminable sort of loop that just goes round and round and round. So thank you to Editor Banya Bat for cutting this one together, which is going to be a slightly more in-depth process than what it usually is. But hey, look, it's 20 to 7 on a lovely morning, a lovely hot summer's morning, and these are the kind of breaks that you got to deal with. But Chris, you are in the middle of what can only be described as a hellish Japanese summer, and you look weather beaten in the best way.
I've had a really rough few days, actually. I had on Sunday we were supposed to do the podcast, and then lots of things went wrong very fast. Number one, we were about to start recording the podcast, then my Mac was like, it's time for an update. It will take 4 hours. And I couldn't stop it. It was like a self-destruct sequence that couldn't be aborted. And then Natsuki came down, which is in itself terrible, of course. We're going to go and film. Yeah, we're going to go and film at this tonkatsu pork restaurant, and it was really nice. The pork was good. We got there and we organised it at quite short notice, and they were like, you're going to have to sit outside, and we were like, well, that's not going to work, because we wanted, Natsuki and I sitting at the bar watching the pork being made. It's going to be amazing. And then it was just Natsuki and I on a bench frying in 40-degree temperatures with the Haneda flight path going over our heads. There's jumbo jets just ruining every shot every 5 seconds. I just went mental. I lost my shit. I told poor old Paul, the cameraman, I was like, stop filming, Paul, this is done. And I had to tell everyone. There's 4 or 5 people at the shoot, and I had to be like, whoever organised this needs to be thrown out of a window. And I got really angry. Poor old Natsuki travelled all this way just to roast in the sun, and it was just really weird. I was just really annoyed at everyone. I don't know who was responsible, but
did you not think that is this part of the reason why you got bumped from being inside to being outside is all down to this kind of over tourism boom that everyone's getting upset about? Is there a little bit of that there?
Well, the restaurant, I think, was 60% foreign customers, so maybe.
Right.
But I think it was just our fault, to be fair, that we didn't organise it far enough in advance and tell the restaurant all these things. But it just seemed a bit weird that the restaurant was like, yeah, you can show off our restaurant and you can film here, but you have to eat out the front under a bush, and it was just all a bit weird. That
it hardly gives everyone the best idea of the
I know, right?
process, does it?
I was like, if, a few 100,000 people might watch this. Let's make the restaurant look good at least. But the food was very good.
Get in a bush.
Who doesn't want to see? People don't want to see Natsuki and I devouring a plate of pork in a fucking hedge with the 777 fucking plane flying over our heads. It was all a bit weird. And then to top it off, Natsuki came back to the studio, and I went in the bathroom. There's just a cockroach there, the 4th cockroach I've ever seen in Japan. I keep count because there's not that many that I've seen, and I didn't. It was just I couldn't get rid of it. Cockroaches are literally indestructible. I know this, and I'd heard this, but I hadn't experienced this. And I hoovered it up with my Dyson, and the idea was I was going to put it in a bag, take it out, but I sort of left it in the Hoover, thinking maybe it'll just end there. Maybe things will end there. But it just survived. It just kept going for 2 days in a Dyson.
Have you learned nothing about cockroaches? I mean, they're very hardy, aren't they? People sort of say they're the only things that will be left after a nuclear attack.
Yeah. And I just couldn't get rid of it. And I I'd put it in a bag, and because in Japan you can't take the rubbish out until certain days of the week. I had to I was like, do I put it in a bag and let it escape back into the studio, or do I leave it in the Dyson and maybe it can't escape? It couldn't get out the Dyson, so if you've got a Dyson, don't worry, it's cockroach proof.
I love that you've kind of basically just imprisoned a cockroach, like a holding cell. Like when drunks get aggressive in NFL matches, there's a little cell in the bowels of the NFL stadium, just keeping it in there for a bit. That's an adorable little pet cockroach. I will require updates.
Well, I didn't want to outright kill it. It's gone now. I put it in the bag. I did get it in the bag to safety. It's been taken out, but I just didn't know what to do. I didn't really want to outright kill it, and then you look up cockroaches online. It's like, cockroach is indestructible. They lay 1 billion eggs a day, and your whole life will be ruined if it survives. And it's just like, but everywhere I looked about cockroaches, it was like those people that get rid of bugs. It was like, those services. So of course they're hyping them up more. Right. I found this special device at the convenience store where it's like a trap for cockroaches, but it does. They walk into the trap, they eat the cockroach bait. Yeah. And it's like a delicious food for the cockroaches, and they walk off. But it's actually poison. It's like the Novichok of cockroaches. Yeah. And then they take it back to their family and disseminate the poison. Then the whole cockroach nest dies. And I've never heard of this before, like this incredible technology.
It's probably the same stuff that is it bauxite or something? The stuff they use on ants. I've got ant traps because I have ant issues sometimes. And they ingest it and they take it off to their nest and just F everybody up, to be honest.
It was just a day of just shit, and this litany of things went wrong. And I was just like, I hate Sunday. What's going on? But Natsuki was around, and we had a good chat, and we had a good laugh. So that was nice at the least.
Some might say Natsuki is your little pet cockroach. It just turns up at moments, ruins your life, and then leaves again.
Well, I filmed Natsuki, and he used the analogy of the cockroach rather nicely. I did a video, and I asked Natsuki in the video if he thought Japan had got worse in 10 years and whatnot, or better. Yeah. And I won't spoil the surprise, but he wasn't overly enthusiastic about the last 10 years.
He's using cockroach analogies. It's not gone well.
Well, yeah. For the cockroach analogy, he was talking about the Japanese yen, how it's now absolutely worthless, meaning nobody in Japan can really travel outside Japan. He's like, I can't leave. Like a cockroach, no escape. And I was like, it's just a...
He didn't spend a lot of time outside of Japan, though, did he, Natsuki? I'm not being funny. Like he wasn't. You basically dragged him out of Japan every time you felt like he needed a bit of some new environs.
Indeed, but I do feel bad for folks in Japan that can't leave the country now because they require twice the financial firepower to escape. We've got a story here though from Sean, and he begins. Hello, Caffable Chris and Pretty Pete. In 2019, I went on my first business trip with my new company to our Tokyo sales office. I was particularly looking forward to going, as my parents are from Japan, so I speak Japanese, but I was born and raised in the States. We had a couple days to explore Tokyo before our meetings, which was a good way to get to know the team quickly. And after a team meal on Sunday, I just returned to my hotel when I received a worried text from my new colleague, Madison. She had just realised that she'd lost her wallet and passport somewhere since arriving in Tokyo a couple of days ago. Understandably, she was very worried, as we only had a couple of days before we were due to return to the US. We didn't have much time between our tightly scheduled meetings, so my spare time was now filled with calling taxi firms, filling police reports for lost items, and calling various shops and restaurants she visited over the last couple of days. It seemed like the wallet and the passport had vaporised, and so we decided to head to the US Embassy to get emergency travel documents. A couple hours later, and down $200, she had the necessary documents to travel again. The next day, she was talking about visiting Odaiba, and as a last-ditch effort, I called the Yurikamome line and inquired about her lost wallet and passport. And you know what? A passenger had found them on the ground in the middle of the train station platform and turned them in. When Madison finally retrieved her lost items, she discovered none of her cards and none of the yen, none of the money was missing. Everything was untouched and in pristine condition, in typical considerate Japanese style. The moral of the story here, avoid dropping your passport in the middle of a train platform. But if you do, don't worry, because it's fine anyway. All the best, guys, Sean. And so she had to spend $200 for nothing. At least she got her stuff back. Happy ending.
Can you use those kind of passports as a super passport? Can you sort of merge them together like some kind of... I don't know, superpower and become like a super traveller or something? Demand to sit with the pilot on planes and stuff?
Super traveller, that's a phrase, a term that I didn't know I needed in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my friend Dave was on a train. We went travelling around Japan a few months ago in April, and he left his brand new Fujifilm camera on the train.
Right.
And, a friend of mine tried to help him sort it out. And nobody could find it, but they kept asking people in Tokyo for where the camera was, and ring up the Shinkansen people. But it turned out it was in Hakata in Fukuoka all along, because it was on the train from Tokyo to like Fukuoka that it happened. We got off halfway, and it's the cleaners at Fukuoka that took the camera off and kept it there. It's just we didn't think to ask the people there for 6 weeks, and we spent all our time
just
questioning people in Tokyo. Yeah, so bear that in mind. If you lose your fucking brand new Fujifilm camera or anything on a train, it's the end point of the destination usually where it will be. Right, that's the place to ring up. And
I've been to the very confusing Shinjuku train station.
Oh God,
lost property office on more than one occasion, and on more than one occasion I've got all my stuff back. So well done.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
It's like just the relief, opening your wallet and being like, "Yay, all the credit cards and all the money's there." Yeah. Because that's something you won't get to experience in most places.
If this yen keeps getting weaker, there'll be more temptation to sell some Fujifilms on the second-hand market.
I thought you were going to say there'll be more yen just appearing in the wallet.
Yes.
The wallet,
it's worthless. You have it.
People throwing their money in the wallet.
Sarah's friends came round and they were off to Bulgaria, and I happened to have a bit of Bulgarian money kicking around in my drawer. I was like, you mean
euros? Does Bulgaria use euros?
No, they use lev. I think they're doing euros next year. And I said, here's some lev, here's some hand it over. And then he Googled how much it was. It was like 80 quid. I was like, can't really ask for the money now, can I? That's a lot. I didn't know there was so much money. I
had no idea Bulgaria wasn't on the euro. I learned something else today. It gets better and better. What a great podcast. We got a story though this week that's like a story that kind of annoyed me. I been here 12, 13 years or whatever it is now, and I've got a reasonable grasp on most aspects of Japanese culture, but this is one aspect of Japanese culture I cannot really comprehend, wrap my head around, or appreciate, and that is the idol culture of Japan. This whole idol culture. There's been like some pretty rough stories over the years, which we'll get into in the moment about idols. But the latest story, well, it's kind of annoying and silly. What is it, Pete? Fill us in on Japanese idol stuff.
Well, Chris, I would love you to take a picture of yourself and send it to me every single night before you go to bed. But that's what's happening with an idol. Momoko Tojo, a member of the Japanese idol group Katakoto Bank. Oh, stupid names.
It's like you thought that up. Fucking hell.
Katakoto Bank has been instructed by her management to post a solo goodnight photo every day for a year after accidentally sharing a picture with her boyfriend. The photo, which Model Press reports was taken during Tojo's 20th birthday celebrations, was mistakenly included in an announcement for an upcoming live performance. Sounds like it's the record company's problem rather than hers, to be honest. But she quickly deleted the photo and made a handwritten apology on X, expressing regret for her careless action and vowing to be mindful of her responsibilities as an idol. Japanese idol culture obviously involves usually young women, but to a less extent young men, basically pretending that they are single and pretending that they are dedicated to their fan base, etc., to maintain an image of purity for the fans. And Tojo, she only joined the group back in June, just before the incident with the photo. And maybe she didn't know the rules all that much, but she's now got a set of rules that she has to basically follow for the rest of the time. If she wants to maintain her position in the idol group, she's going to be having to maintain a certain distance from her boyfriend. She must post a solo goodnight photo every day for a year. And fans have been encouraged to report any suspicions of her boyfriend appearing in these photos. I mean, it's good stuff, isn't it? It's North Korea stuff, really, isn't it?
North Korea stuff. Yeah. It just reminds me of there was an incident that was on the media everywhere around the world back in 2013 when Minami Minagishi in AKB48 had to shave her hair as an apology for spending the night at like a male singer's apartment. I think it was a photo of her coming out that got spread around, and she had to like shave off all her hair, and there's like a really horrible video of her just crying her eyes out and her hair being chopped off. I was just really like, my God, what is this? This is so fucking dystopian, the idol culture stuff. I don't know. I'm an influencer person, aren't I? So I'm exposed to the world of this sort of stuff, and I guess I understand to some extent that people, the idols need to maintain this image of being single to some extent, and that's their one job, right? Like, if you become an idol,
you fucked your situation. you were with Charlotte for 20 years, and now suddenly,
exactly right.
It's weirdly it extends to idol culture is in every part of the entertainment industry as well. I was talking to Chris Brooks, the wrestler for DDT out there, and similar sort of situation really. You can't be seen to be sort of fraternising with ladies publicly, because a lot of your income comes from merch sales and people kind of being a little bit obsessed with you, that kind of.
I mean, I'm sure in the West it's we have it, but it's more of an unwritten rule, right? It's your agent will probably be like, you should just pretend like you've got no partner, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that was never a factor in why I kept my relationship with Charlotte hidden for a year or so, because
it's nobody's business, isn't it? That's the thing.
I want to make sure
you're kind of torn between
the relationship went well first, because you don't want to start dating your friend and then be like, we're dating now, and after 6 months be like, it didn't work out. I wanted to make sure we were together at least a year or two first before it was all.
Were you kind of like the first blow off in front of partners, pressing send to the tweet? Send. It is that, and you don't want to. A, it's your life, and B, but B, you do kind of want to celebrate that person as well. You still want to kind of. If you're excited and enthusiastic about something, you kind of want to share it with people. So it's kind of quite difficult, I suppose, isn't it?
Well, I think because Charlotte's an influencer as well, it made sense to obviously, announce we were dating at the time and whatnot. If she wasn't, then I don't know. I probably would say something that I had a partner, but I don't know.
Hands off, ladies.
But in the world of idol culture, I guess that's their one thing, isn't it? Your whole job is. You're not there to be a top singer. You're not there to be necessarily the best performer. You're there to be an idol. Somebody's
it is
fantasy,
rancid, isn't it?
The embodiment of somebody's fantasy and all that shit. And it's just, yes, I don't get it. It's not aimed at me or Pete Dolson.
No.
And just the videos I've seen over the years of like I remember when I lived in Sendai. I lived in an apartment where I could see onto the roof of a skyscraper where they had regular events for idol groups, and it was like once a month on Saturday you would hear the worst music known to mankind. It would be like an idol song. It wouldn't be like it'd be a low tier idol group, and they'd just drown the neighbourhood in like awful singing, dancing, and you'd look on the roof and there'd be three girls, probably 14, 15, and like 50 50-year-old men dancing around, and it's just like, what the fuck is this shit? And it was fucking weird, man.
Absolutely rancid.
Yeah. I just don't get it. I don't get it, and I don't want to criticise people if they're into that outright, but it's just a bit odd. Can't understand it. Maybe somebody can explain the appeal to me. Maybe someone can tell me what the appeal of it is, because I just don't understand. And I never will.
I guess it's kind of like an arm's length kind of relationship that requires nothing but your money and attention. Not very satisfying, though.
There was another story. The worst story was the one where there was an idol girl and she got a gift from someone. She received a gift from a fan, and it was something, I don't know what it was, but she had to send it back. She sent it back to him, basically, and he felt rejected. And then he turned up to a gig with a saw and went at her with a saw or something. Remember
that? Was one of AKB48, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember it.
Really kind of... Maybe that was instigated the downfall of idol culture a little bit. I don't really know where idol culture is compared to 10, 15, 20 years ago. I suspect it's probably not as pervasive as it was, back when I first got here, even. But... when I first got here, I mean, AKB48 was massive still. Yeah. Music was everywhere. You'd hear it everywhere you went. But I haven't really heard much recently, so I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, when I was starting to sort of go to Japan, it's all anyone would talk about. There were like bars and stuff that were dedicated to the group and stuff, and obviously you had a lot of talk about all of the other, the NMB, the Osaka lot. There's loads of different sort of obviously 48 bands, but there was so much AKB48 stuff around, but you don't see them quite as much, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to know actually if the popularity has been on the wane in that regard.
Yeah.
But I mean, celebrity culture as a whole, I've never really understood it and grasped it. Even though in previous episodes I'm like, I want to meet famous people. That's what I want to do, Pete. But then you meet people and it's like, oh, it's a person. Oh, it's not quite as
boring.
Good.
Boring old person.
I've met. I've met Ken Watanabe, I've met Pete Dawson, and Elon Musk, and the King and the Emperor, and you just realise, it's people. Everyone's just a person, and then the magic wears off a bit, and then you have to go out drinking with Pete Dawson, and the magic just
to get the magic back.
God,
get the magic back.
We're massive moment, guys. We have stories, comments, and questions over in the Fax Machine. Yes.
Wow.
And we're back with the Fax Machine. What have we got this week from our listeners, Mr. Dawson? Fill us in.
Got a message from Anonymous. Hello, Anonymous. A good day to you, Christian and Peter Pan. I want to propose to my SO. Significant other? Yes. SO sounds strong. Sod off. And I bet she'd love an authentic Japanese ring with a beautiful handwritten kakemono to accompany it saying, I love you, will you marry me? How easy is it to get handmade jewellery in Japan? Where would you say people should go, and is there anything I should look out for in particular? Long-time listener and fan, and anonymous in this case, in case she's listening. Yours anonymously, Anonymous.
Yeah. Crikey, that's a tough one, isn't it? That's a tough request. I mean... I made my engagement ring for Charlotte. I cast it by hand in the fires of Almori in Mount Aso.
Right.
Went down to Aso. No, I just bought a shop, innit? The only place I know where there's a lot of good crafty stuff is Kanazawa. I don't know if that's the place to get a ring, though.
Shimokitazawa, maybe?
Shimokitazawa.
Is that the hipster?
That's where you get second-hand clothes, Pete. That's what the second-hand clothes.
But like they'll have like most second-hand clothes have like little cool jewellery sections. Get a bit of that going.
You can't get. You don't want to get a second-hand ring. You want to get the real thing, the real deal,
right.
A fresh diamond, isn't it? Found in a cave in South Africa. I mean, I actually don't know. This is one question that's got me stumped. I'd say, just what the question didn't allude to, like where the proposal was going to happen, right?
No.
Want to propose? No. She want a ring? No. Yeah.
No.
Handmade jewellery in Japan. Kanazawa is the only place I can think of, really, off the top of my head, that you can find something like that, unfortunately. But yeah, Ginza or Motisando, high-class places, lots of jewellery stores, and Shimokitazawa, if you want to buy a second-hand rug and take that as well. You got a story here from Cody of Pete Dawson's. You get a second-hand rug to do the proposal on. That's from Shimokitazawa.
Not out of your knees.
We got one here from Cody from Ohio. He says, good morning, Chris and Pete. My husband makes remarks about how he and I receive different treatment in public places, and me often getting better treatment in Japan. Do your significant others receive better service than you because they're female? Are there any other forms of chivalry or gestures that are unique to Japan? Thank you for the years of great content, Cody from Ohio. Did you find this when you were over here a few months ago, Pete?
I think that did Sarah get better treatment? No, I think we were just routinely ignored by everyone. I think, and as it should be, we are nobody. I think that's just life in general, isn't it? People are slightly more chivalrous to women, or presenting as female because of the long-standing patriarchy, I suppose. I don't know.
I've actually never noticed that in anything ever. Yeah, I've not noticed that in Japan, to be honest. Honestly, equal treatment.
What is better treatment?
Usually,
a bit more ice cream at dessert.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know, but no. Honestly, I've never seen anything like that here. The service quality's tip top, no matter where you go in Japan. And I actually can't think of anything off the top of my head. So I'd say no. One here from Aston, who says, "Hello, Chris and Pete. My wife and I both run quite a bit, and I recently found out I was able to get a spot in the Tokyo Marathon 2025. Wow, well done. It's pretty hard to get. We've both done a few marathons, and I'm looking forward to it already. I'm curious what Tokyo is like around the time of the marathon, particularly the day of the race itself. Is it just mega busy? Any spectator experiences or plans to run the event yourself one day? All the best, guys. Aston from the UK. Do you know when the marathon is?"
Apparently, the latest edition was in the 3rd of March 2024. So Sunday, 2nd of March next year. Got a good logo. It's good. It looks like a little tube map.
Yeah, it's pretty funky. I've never run the marathon, and I never will probably. I was thinking of doing it, and then my friend told me it was something absurd. It's like 40-50 kilometres. And I thought it was like 3 kilometres. That's clearly not a marathon.
Everyone talks about half marathons. They never talk about marathons. Everyone's big on the half marathons. We saw at the weekend down South End kind of pier kind of place. People were just like legging it on like Sunday morning. They were just running down the road, and a lot of like the blokes were like running. They had like their children in strollers. So they like had these kind of really high,
what the fuck?
Kind of like kind of insulated, bounce-wise, big wheeled strollers, and these men were just like running their kids around, and it was a bit like, that's not. I mean, is the kid enjoying that? Getting pushed around for like a full park run? I don't know. I just found it very, very bizarre. Very weird thing to do.
Oh, it sounds great. I wish I was a kid again. Pushed around. The Tokyo Marathon's 42 kilometres. So
right.
I think the furthest I've run is 8 kilometres. So just a fair bit short of a marathon.
Just a little bit.
But no, I think the day itself, I know they shut down a lot of Tokyo. I know it's a good vibe. My friend dressed up like what was it? He dressed up like a Godzilla or something, just ran the whole thing. Or a dinosaur?
Nice.
I can't remember exactly, but and he was like roasting in his like suit, running the race. But yeah, I don't know. Whoever picked these questions, three questions,
absolutely
each one useless.
Stumped you. Absolutely stumped you.
Where do I get a ring? How do I run a marathon?
Yeah.
And just where do I get? I'm just useless this week.
These are questions. These are questions that people need answered. We need a ring. We need to go running, and
Jesus, yeah. I feel bad. This is a rare thing where I have almost no knowledge or experience to contribute to the Q&A section for once. Terrible shame. We'll be back there, guys. Hopefully with a better Q&A that I can answer the questions to. Thank you to those of you that did send them in. Sorry we couldn't be more helpful. Good luck with the ring. Good luck with the marathon.
It doesn't have to be something you answer. We just have a little chat about it and then we go home. At the end of the day, it's fine.
I feel like a genie there. I feel like you get 3 wishes, and then I'm like a genie who's like, I can't help with that one. What's the next one? I can't do that one either. I can't imagine Aladdin if the genie was like, it's effort though, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know where you get a ring, Aladdin. Fuck off. I can't. I'm useless. But I'll do my homework. Maybe I will find the answers to all these questions and more. But thank you guys as always. Keep the questions coming in to Abroad Japan Podcast at gmail.com or down in the YouTube comments below. But for now, have yourself a great few days, and we'll see you right back here to do it all over again on the Abroad Japan Podcast. Bye for now.